It's hard to overestimate bassist Chuck Rainey's contributions to popular music. Even if you're not familiar with his name, I'm sure you're familiar with one of the 1,000+ recordings he's been on, like Aretha Franklin.
Hey, baby, let's get away, let's go somewhere.
Or Steely Dan.
Hey, we'll come back to you.
Or TV themes like Sanford & Son. He's bona fide bass royalty, one of the greatest bass players ever, with a sound and language on the instrument that set a standard for everything that came after. Let's break down one of his very best lines, not as well known, but my personal favorite. 1973's Summer in the City by the great Quincy Jones. From the album You've Got It Bad Girl, this was Quincy's reimagining of the 1966 hit song by the Lovin' Spoonful.
Hot town, summer in the city, back of my neck getting dirt and gritty.
Q's take is decidedly more urban and ended up winning the Grammy for Best Instrumental Arrangement in 1974, beating out Chick Corea's song Spain that year. Chuck Rainey's genius is all over this track. His style is fully fleshed out, and we can hear it distinctly in 3 sections of the song. First of all, Chuck Rainey is bringing the funk, and we can really hear it on a tempo like this one. On this section, we can hear him use a technique he called padding. Padding was something I was using on many dates back then. I started doing it in 1962 when I first came to New York and I was working with organist Bill Doggett. Padding was a way to simulate his left hand pats on the Hammond organ through the Leslie speaker. To use this padding technique, Chuck would hit the body of the bass with the heel of his hand, allowing his fingers to catch the E string just after. Almost like a flam, like a drummer would play, the key is to feel the groove in your palm. You can hear him using this technique all over Aretha's Rocksteady. Almost like a slap, when you catch the body, you get a lot of serious bottom end and punch. Almost like a bass drum is being played. Another Chuck Rainey trademark. He's playing throughout the range of the instrument. We're getting a moving, active bass line, incorporating open strings, and to top it off, he goes up and grabs the 3rd and the 7th of that G7 chord. The double stops are a huge part of his footprint, and you can hear them all over his recorded work.
I wanna tell you, baby.
See, everyone stop to stare at your technical motor.
When talking about working with Quincy Jones, Chuck said, he'd walk in, hand out blank manuscript paper. He'd say, okay, let's put this in G. Then he'd give us a sample of the rhythm he wanted and call various chord changes. In about 10 minutes, we'd have a complete chart. When we listened to this part of the song and realized that he was probably given 2 chords, and came up with all of that, man, that's amazing. Again, classic Chuck Rainey. We're getting all the way from the bottom of the bass where he plays that open E, all the way to the top of the instrument where he grabs that E7 double stop. And that fill on beat 3, that's one of his calling cards. You can also hear him play it in the intro to Peg. He has never been afraid to jump into the higher register to grab chord tones, and yet dig how it never gets in the way. Also, his expressiveness completely blew the curve. Hammer-ons, slides, double and triple stops, all without ever losing the groove. Chuck Rainey on bass, brilliant every single time. Like with most of his productions, Quincy Jones brought together an all-star supporting cast on this track. Grady Tate on drums, Dave Grusin on electric piano, and Valerie Simpson on vocals. His concept? Put great musicians together and let them do their thing. And with Chuck Rainey on bass, that's must-listen kind of stuff. So go and check it out.